Reality ends tomorrow. What you need to know now when News 4 at 10 starts next.
Investigating for you. This is News 4 Tucson, live at 10.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Nick Van Zant. It's become a story too big to ignore, and even though it's been widely discredited as a hoax and a conspiracy, rumors of a child sex camp here in Tucson are now getting international attention. News 4 Tucson's Sam Salzweedl looks into the latest claims. It's new at 10.
There are hundreds of YouTube videos claiming there is a child sex dungeon. The fact-checking website Snopes has even written about it, calling the claim false. Michael Lewis Arthur Meyer leads the group Veterans on Patrol. He's not a veteran and doesn't claim to be. He has thousands of very loyal followers. He went to the anti-government standoffs at Bundy Ranch and the Oregon Wildlife Refuge. He said to de-escalate the situations.
I'll give you a quick walk through the camp.
Lewis works out of what looks like a military camp near Santa Rita Park on private property.
But this is a rape tree.
He claims to have found what he calls a child rape den.
This is where little children are fastened to these trees.
Tucson police investigated and say it's just a homeless camp. John McLean works with Veterans on Patrol. He's not sure about all of Lewis' claims, but he has seen a lot of homeless camps.
All of it in regards to it being just another run-of-the-mill homeless camp. I mean, if there's anything I don't buy that.
It's easy to see how someone could think they're restraints, but in the same frame, you can see straps on another tree, holding up a pole, keeping gear off the ground, possibly to keep away from unwanted wildlife. Lewis Arthur's supporters don't believe it.
I think the little space in the bunker was used to keep children quiet.
This is a small child's skull.
Later in the week, they claimed to find the remains of a child. But this was miles away from the supposed sex camp, and the Pima County Medical Examiner says it's an adult. This is also a corridor where border crossers often die in the desert. The claims are catching fire online. City Council member Paul Cunningham addressed the issue in his weekly newsletter, writing, "In the days since this has hit the media, the incident has morphed on national websites into an alleged conspiracy that involves groups as diverse as Mexican corporation Cemex, controversial company NXIVM, the Clinton Foundation, and even the Libyan Provisional Government. I wish I was making this up. If you want to look it up on the internet, you can, but life is really too short for you to waste your time."
It's sad to see it go in this direction. Kind of seeing what that fringe media that exists, that and how they write their stories.
He also wrote, "Another thing that disappoints me are the attacks on our police and our mayor. It amazes me how many people in our community that support the police are at the same time alleging they would be involved in a cover-up of something like this. As for the mayor, there are a number of bizarre allegations out there that invoke his religion and his last name."
I certainly don't think that there's any foul play in regards to the Tucson police.
Lewis has now launched what he calls Operation Backyard Brawl to fight the sex trafficking in the desert. I wanted to take my questions straight to Lewis Arthur. When I called, he hung up on me. Then he sent a text message saying he would give me a statement if I volunteered with his group for 1 week. Sam Salzweedl, News 4 Tucson.
Thank you, Sam. An Arizona soldier has been killed in the line of duty while fighting in Somalia. The Defense Department says Staff Sergeant Alexander Conrad of Chandler died from injuries sustained from indirect enemy fire. Conrad was participating in a multi-day mission with Somalia and Kenyan troops when he was shot. Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab has claimed responsibility for the attack. Conrad served 8 years in the military and was assigned to a special forces group out of Fort Bragg. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey has ordered flags, all state flags, to half-staff to honor Conrad. Right now, firefighters are trying to figure out what caused a fire that sent 3 people to the hospital. The fire started around 5:30 this morning near 5th Street and Country Club. When firefighters arrived, they saw what you see there, flames just covering this house. 2 firefighters had to be taken to the hospital, one with burns. Both of them are expected to be okay. A person living inside the home also had to be taken to the hospital. It took firefighters nearly 45 minutes to get the flames under control. That house has now been condemned. And Tucson police say they have arrested a man in connection with a fire that damaged 4 apartments. Albert Maxim is now facing several charges, including arson and felony endangerment. Police say Maxim started a fire at an apartment complex near Stone and Roger. A Tucson police officer suffered smoke inhalation injuries while helping to evacuate that complex. The Red Cross is now assisting 4 residents who were displaced by the fire. Evacuations are underway in Colorado as flames from a wildfire inch closer to people's homes tonight. The fire is burning near Durango and shows little signs of stopping. 4,000 acres have been burned so far, with winds and dry conditions now fanning those flames. 700 firefighters are working on the fire. So far, more than 1,300 people have been evacuated. Here in Arizona, the Judd fire burning near Bisbee is now 65% contained. The fire started last Thursday and has burned nearly 4,000 acres. It's in a rugged area, so crews have had to fight it from the air. Officials are worried, though, about coming storms. They hope to have the fire under control in the next 24 hours. Officials in Iowa are trying to decide if they should extradite or release an Arizona man who escaped prison 37 years ago. Charles Cagely has been living near Prescott Valley. He was arrested in March after a review found his prison escape case was still pending. Cagely's wife says that in 2005, a private investigator told them that the case against her husband had been dropped. The Iowa Department of Corrections says Cagely's case is, quote, unusual, and is currently trying to decide what to do. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un have both now arrived in Singapore for Tuesday's scheduled summit meeting, where President Trump hopes to personally broker an end to North Korea's nuclear program. Bill Neely has the latest from Singapore.
Nowhere in the world are they watching the upcoming summit between Kim Jong-un and President Trump in Singapore, then right here in Seoul, South Korea. It is seen in many ways as a matter of life and death. This country has so much at stake. Right now, today, every day, in fact, tens of thousands of North Korean rockets and artillery pieces are pointed right here at Seoul. And the calculus has long been, if the United States attacks North Korea responds by destroying this city. And just 6 months ago, there were protests here. Protests on the streets of Seoul with people calling President Trump a warmonger. This was when President Trump was describing Kim Jong-un as Little Rocket Man, and North Korea was firing off its missiles and testing its nuclear weapons. Now people here are pinning their hopes on President Trump's ability to pull off a successful summit. So all eyes on this summit, and everyone here knows exactly what's at stake. Richard Engel, NBC News, Seoul.
The suicides of Chef Anthony Bourdain and designer Kate Spade are shining a spotlight on prevention and awareness. Now one Oro Valley family who lost their son 2 years ago is opening up about the grieving process. It's a story you'll see only on News 4.
Michael and Tracy Campisi were out on their usual Friday date night.
Nothing that would lead me to believe that that's what we were going to come home to.
And we looked at our behavior and we looked at the past few weeks, and there wasn't anything there. The signs weren't blatant.
June 17th, 2016. Their 16-year-old son, Maverick, their youngest boy, shot himself with a rifle.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, tall, enthusiastic, very social. Got those skills from his mama. My intellect, comedic personality.
Named for the character in Top Gun, Maverick had just gotten his driver's license. He was especially close with his mom and his big brother and protector, Logan.
I miss being able to have the same experiences together, to work together towards a common goal, to bounce ideas back and forth about things that we want to do or adventures that we want to go on. Now it's a bit lonelier not having a partner.
Last October, just after what would have been Maverick's 18th birthday, his dad started writing Walks in the Dark, his way, he says, to work through the grief. It's about what happened that night, and this father says it's a message to fellow parents.
You're not crazy. Your thoughts. This is not impossible to live through, although it's very, very hard. And then for non-bereaved parents, it's a message of educate yourself. This could happen very, very quick.
Tracy has some of Maverick's ashes tattooed on her arm. She has become an advocate.
Reaching out to other moms that are going through this early on, since I've been little bit farther along on this road.
For this family, their son is never not with them, whether it be at the kitchen table or when they go back to Ironwood Ridge High School and see a bench. The pain and the grief, always there.
Eric, you look back on conversations and moments, and you take them apart, you put them back together, you redefine them in context, you do all those things. Nothing. It was so far out of the realm of possibilities.
In Oro Valley, Eric Fink, News 4, Tucson.
Now, if you or someone you know might need help, the number for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. Coming up next on News 4 Tucson, live at 10, more than 5 weeks and the lava just keeps flowing. And net neutrality ends this week. What that means for you.
2018 starts this week. What that means for us on the other side of the break. But before the break, we're going to look at River in La Cholla on our News 4 Tucson Skynet camera. Keep it here.
Investigating for you. This is News 4 Tucson.